Yes, hello. This is a video on how to become psychically aware. My method worked okay for me, so I'm just going to tell you how I did it. I've read elsewhere that other people have done this thing too, so it's worked for them as well. So you could try it. What you do is you just monitor yourself continually and notice what you're thinking. So, say for example, well, you could do that, but that would be a little bit complex, because even though you would eventually you would work out that you had particular thoughts that occurred to you often, and particular interests, and so on and so forth. Even though you'd work that out and notice changes in those, or unusual thoughts that drew you away from unusual thoughts, or thoughts that drew you away from your usual thoughts, or anything like that over time, it'd be a more complex job. A good idea is to actually practice holding on to one particular thought and observe what draws you away from it. So say, for example, you liked vanilla ice cream. You could try thinking about the taste of vanilla ice cream and how much you enjoyed it for as long as you could, really. Days, preferably at least 20 minutes. 20 minutes will start to form a habit, will start to get your brain exercised and limbered up and practicing in that, and will start to tap into your subconscious. Your subconscious will start to think, what's going on with this vanilla ice cream thought? Maybe I should pay attention to it. So your subconscious will begin to cooperate. It won't be in a trained way, but it'll be gradually, it will become like that. It will just take a little while, that's all. It could take years. But it's well worth doing, even if it takes years. Gradually, your subconscious will become more and more able. Well, it'll be more like your conscious mind, really. Maybe the two fuse eventually, but if there are any more subconscious parts or separate parts of the mind that your present consciousness is generally unaware of, they will become more able to cooperate with and interact with your conscious mind over time, if you train them to do so. And they will want to as well, because at present they're not able to help themselves when they'd like to. They're like dogs that are badly trained. They'd like to be let off the lead, but you can't let them off the lead, because they'll run off. And there could be several of them for all we know. I mean, the mind is a fairly complex thing. There's nothing to say that the subconscious is one big organised whole. If it were so organised, why would it be subconscious? It would probably be more able to be more conscious or more communicative with the conscious mind anyway. So it probably is in a number of different pieces, which are doing what they like, really, like tentacles of an octopus that is unaware of its actions, just flailing about almost, trying to each please themselves and so on, and therefore pulling in all different directions and not really able to help themselves. Once they learn to do what the conscious mind wants more, they'll probably want to cooperate more, like a trained dog, because that way it would be able to be allowed off the lead and could go for a run and things like that, and get more treats for being obedient or something. Your conscious mind can then let you know various things, like anything it's sensed that it wants you to know about, and so on. And that might help you to avoid a plane crash by not getting on a particular plane at some time, or things like that. Or it might just give you the idea that you better not overspend now, because a bill that you would otherwise not expect might be coming. And sure enough, you might find that It does come in a few days, and you're glad that you didn't overspend. Something like that. So basically, it's a good idea to train your subconscious, and your subconscious does want to be, really just brought round from an untrained state. I mean, in a world where there is reading, writing, and complexities like computers and so on, would you want to be illiterate? Your subconscious doesn't really want to be illiterate. It lives in a complex world governed by your consciousness, and it would really like, actually, to be able to cope with that better and to be able to interact with your consciousness. Your consciousness has a lot of power in its life, and it would like really to be able to interact with your consciousness. At the moment, all your subconscious parts are like invalids. They're quite helpless. They would like very much to be trained and able to get more out of life as a result by telling you things like, things that would help your subconscious to be happy, which will make you happier if your subconscious is happy. So it's a good idea, basically, to do this kind of thing. So your subconscious, if you go back to continue with this thought of thinking about vanilla ice cream all the time, your subconscious mind will gradually come to realize that you're trying to link with it, and it'll link with you more and more easily and more willingly and deliberately first of all in your own ways to strengthen the ties. And when the ties are strong enough in the mind, when there are enough neurons formed with the rest of your mind, it will start to form its own connections with you and with the other various other parts of your mind that are subconscious. And then things will start to happen more on their own. You'll also find that life will become easier because other people who are actually already developed will start to give you an easier time because they fear people who are more psychically aware. They're used to exploiting them. They're used to exploiting people who are unaware. And if they become aware, they lay off you a lot more. And the more psychically aware you become, the more they lay off you. I think the Illuminati probably, the people who run this planet, the Satanists who run it. If you want to look them up, just look up Illuminati on YouTube, or Bohemian Grove, or Alex Jones, and things like that. Alex Jones made the video on Bohemian Grove. Just look up Turkish Freemasonic goat sacrifice. You'll see Freemasons in Turkey sacrificing a goat to Satan. This world is run by psychically aware people who are bad. Probably psychopaths, actually. They probably find it easier to become psychically aware because their minds are limited. They have brain damage. Only 20% of their mind functions at a normal level. 80% of it is like sleeping, at a sleeping level. So they've only got to get through 20% of their mind. The rest of us have bigger minds to develop, so it's harder work for us. We have a more complex task to become psychically aware. You'll also find that your efforts are endlessly sabotaged. At first, this will make you think that you're not getting anywhere. You may be getting it somewhere, but they're just continually sabotaging every effort you make. So it'll seem like you're not getting anywhere. But it's like if you do take a step forward and someone pushes you back a step. You just have to keep going that step forward. Eventually, you will get the hang of maintaining your grip on a particular step, and you'll be able to take another step forward and continue like that. When you're forward quite a few steps, a number of steps, say 20 steps or more, they'll start to have a little more fear and respect for you, these people. And once you're forward about, quite a few steps, a short walk, say, they will, and you'll start to sense things around you in a way which will compare to a kind of sight almost. You'll start to sense the world around you more fully. they will recognise that they are not able to keep you down, and they'll start treating you with respect, or they'll pretend to, probably just pretense, really. Never let your guard down against these people. They're dangerous, and they always will be. Okay? Never let your guard down against them. But they'll pretend to treat you with more respect. But just progress. Okay, so note what takes you away from this thought that you're trying to hold in your mind. Write down what takes you away from it. Keep a diary about what takes you away from it. Keep a diary about who's around when this happens, because it's probably going to be people who are around you. You're going to start realising unfortunate things like that. These people who are already developed and don't want other people to have this these abilities, which are natural to us, I believe, and which they prevent other people from developing. You're going to find that they're everywhere. I think they might even interbreed with us. They could even be your children. I'm not sure whether or not they swap babies in hospitals. I know that used to happen quite a lot, apparently. These days, they claim to be able to determine whether or not your children are yours with genetic tests, but they could be lying for all you know. So they could be swapping babies, or they could genuinely be able to interbreed with us. You could be carrying them in your genes, whether you know it or not, or your partner could. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't accept anybody's word, really, until we gain enough independence from them to ascertain this kind of thing ourselves. Anyway, whether it's by swapping babies or by interbreeding with us, I don't know. But you will find that all kinds of people in your life are psychically aware and sabotaging your efforts. It could even be your partner. It could be your own parents, your children, people who you thought were your friends. You'll find that these people are numerous, and possibly they outnumber people who are still unaware, who I think may be humans. These other people may be fallen angels that the Bible speaks of in Genesis chapter 6 in the Bible, or the hybrids made when they bred with humans. So, whatever, note what distracts you from the thought you've chosen. This will really simplify things, just practicing along the lines of one thought. Note how long it took you to get off the thought. No matter how hard you try, you'll find it's quite hard to even do 2 minutes. It really is. Doing 20 minutes, once you can do 20 minutes, that's quite good. If you can actually do this for a couple of hours, then you're starting to, in my experience, this is how it was with me, you're starting to break the barriers down. The barriers of your own subconscious inertia, feelings of, probably subconscious as feelings of helplessness, because all your life your subconscious will have been basically done to and used and unrecognized and so on. If it finds it's starting to be perceived and contacted and recognized and interacted with within a determined program by a consciousness that is determined, its own consciousness that has suddenly realized it's got as much value and to your organism as your consciousness has, it will be very much happier and become very willing to cooperate with you. You'll find it a lot easier. You'll already have developed a lot of habit-formed neurons in your brain anyway. I know it'll start off being linked to something like vanilla ice cream or something, but that's okay. I mean, choose anything you like, really. I would choose something slightly impersonal, as I say, from an experience point of view, because if you start doing it with someone like your child, which you think you'd find easy to focus on, if you find out your child's sabotaging your efforts and is actually harmful to you, then you'll have all kinds of neurons, extra neurons linked into your brain making psychic connections with that child, and you will have set yourself up for a difficult task, re-establishing your basis of communication with your subconscious. You'll have to push it over, push your you'll just have to make extra efforts to try and re-anchor and re-establish the basis of your contact with your subconscious. So I really would just choose something that is not living and isn't going to be able to get to you at all. Just something like something really impersonal and pleasant and very uniform and unchanging and predictable, like vanilla ice cream. Yeah, and note who's around. Absolutely note who's around when you have distractions from this thought, because it will be someone's attempt to sabotage you. You won't be able to do this very successfully, really, because your neighbours will be around just feet away from you on either side of you, maybe above and below you too if you live in flats like I do. But you can make the effort, you can try. You can certainly look at who's in the street outside. If you try and film them and they run off, or they're really unwilling to be filmed, if you don't know what they're doing there, why someone seems to be hanging around, even if it's just for a few moments, and you film them and they're unwilling to be filmed, they're probably part of this. You could film them and keep them, just take a screenshot of the film and keep a little diary of who's around when you're distracted. You may well find that particular people are around when you're distracted. Just put them in a little file of distracting people. Just take a photograph of them and or a screenshot. Take film, actually, because if they try and turn away, it might be difficult to take a photograph. Whereas if you filmed them, you could get a snapshot of the film, really. I mean, even if you just have like 1 second of film of somebody, you can get a snapshot. Whereas if you try and take a photograph of someone, they could have turned away in that second. So film them, get a snapshot of the screenshot of the film, and put them in a file with their date. Give them a nickname like Blondie or Short Hair or Black Jacket or anything, really. And note the time and date and day when they were around. You might find they come along on Tuesdays and you're particularly distracted on Tuesdays when they're around, because they might have Tuesday off or something. Or you might find they come along, this is quite a common one I find, just before kids are picked up from school. Because a lot of people on the way to collect their kids from school stop by and try and pick up some psychic energy from somebody. And then will shop on the way home from school with their kids or something like that, So it's quite common, really, that time of day, I find. Weekends, I find, are quieter because people have probably done all the thieving of psychic energy they wanted to do during the week. And many of them use that to go away at the weekends. They translate it somehow in their own world, which the rest of us don't know about. I think it's used like currency, actually, psychic energy. It has value, and they swap it with each other. So they can make various purchases with it, which result in them making gains in some way. And they use these gains to go off for the weekend. I think they even can turn it into money somehow. I know it sounds strange. I can't explain it maybe, but there's a tie-in. There are definite tie-ins between the physical world and the psychic world. And they seem able to translate psychic energy even literally into money. I know it sounds strange, but I think they can. Or they do something that helps them to benefit from their psychic attacks on people, as a result of which they're in a position to go away at weekends. So I find it quieter at weekends. Yesterday was Christmas Day, and I found I was naturally happier for the first few hours of Christmas Day than I had been for months. I think it's because, having psychically developed, I'm experiencing an absolute onslaught from these people who are psychically developed, who don't want other people, those they victimize, to be more psychically developed and possibly in a position to stop them from doing what they're doing and maybe even get them punished for it. You know, they don't want anyone to be able to prove anything, so they need them to be unaware. So they've been particularly harsh on me for several months, but I think they took Christmas off. You know, they like having fun. They don't care about Jesus Christ or being good, but they like having fun. So they do take Christmas, you know, as a time to have fun. So they were all having their Christmas in the early part of yesterday. And so right up till about, say, 1:30, things were much easier on me. And then I suppose they'd all had their Christmas lunch, and for them Christmas was over, because a lot of people just see it as presents and Christmas lunch. And after that they're kind of like, what should we do now? Because it doesn't really mean anything to them. They don't have the same feelings as us humans. They're not enjoying each other's company particularly. They lack feelings. This is some of why they rob. It's not just about money. They lack feelings, and as a result, they don't. You know, they spend other people's enjoyment until they have none left, and then they go out and get some more. So I guess they spend all their enjoyment by the time their Christmas lunch is over, or by about 1:30, say. I know other people who are probably humans are still cooking their lunches by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so their Christmas lasts longer, possibly because they have less psychic energy to make things work with, because it's been robbed by these other people. I'm not kidding about any of this. I mean it. So, you'll find that at particular times, you will find things easier, generally, and including keeping your mind focused on this one particular thought. And it's called meditation, really. I didn't know that I was meditating. I just set myself this task of noting my thoughts and what distracted me from them, to learn about myself and about anything that might be other than me that I might be able to sense. And I found that was more complex than I thought it would be, so I decided to concentrate on a particular thought. And it turns out that's what meditation is, trying to keep your mind still, as they say, or focused on one thought. Some people say to get all thoughts out of your mind and then observe what comes in. I actually think that's not a very defensive position to take. That's like channeling. It opens you up too much. People have had bad effects from meditating, you know. Those who meditate and who make a living teaching meditation won't tell you that, because they make a living teaching you meditation, so they won't admit that there could be any danger involved in it. If anything does go wrong, they just say that it's not their fault, or the other person wasn't careful enough, or didn't follow instructions, or they offer them therapy, or they send them to a friend of theirs who's a therapist, you know, that kind of thing. I advise concentrating on something enjoyable and pleasant, like vanilla ice cream, something very bland and unchanging, not alive, not able to be distressed by you or to distress you, something impersonal, something that you can, that you're in control of, basically. You're in control of vanilla ice cream. So that's a good one to use. You will begin to notice that you're not fully in control of your thoughts. You'll notice that however hard you try, you can't keep your mind on vanilla ice cream for 20 minutes. It's really much harder than you think. Eventually, you'll realize that you're not that dumb, and that you are being sabotaged. Some people are interfering with you psychically. It must be happening, because you're not that dumb. You can do it for 2 or 3 minutes. You can do it for 5 or 7 minutes. You've even done it a few times for 20 minutes. You know, I did it for about an hour once, and then found it difficult to do that again, and thought, no, I can do this. So definitely something's interfering with me. I'd already decided some people were interfering with me psychically anyway, but it just became clear that they were much more successful than I'd hoped. That some people really are possibly less burdened with full minds, the psychopaths, or just evil people. I think they even raise their children this way, to be honest. Their children are raised this way. In fact, I know they are. So, basically, we live in a world very different from that we're raised to if we're not psychically developed. People are far more psychically aware than we realise, and many of them anyway. And you just have to realise that life is a struggle. This is yet another struggle. Some people who, psychic attackers, are very able to continually damage and harm you. And even after you've done this for years and become very aware, they can still damage your awarenesses, damage all the progress you've made. Like if you were a scientist and someone was regularly smashing up your lab, that kind of thing. Or like if every time you tried to build up a nice home, it got burgled and wrecked and ransacked continually. This is what's happening to people. All I can say is it's a serious situation and we need to deal with it. We're not living normal lives, living the limited lives with the limited minds that we have. Everybody knows, so many people now know that we only use about 10% of our minds. I think it's because we're just so sabotaged. We have to succeed in developing ourselves and stop this from happening. It's very painful to realize exactly how intrusive these people are. They're as intrusive as you could imagine them being. They're as offensive as you could imagine them being. They commit every kind of crime against their victims many times every day. And you just have to get through it all. It's possible if we could understand the mind enough. I wouldn't put this in the hands of scientists, by the way. The only people who get jobs from the people who run our societies around the world are the bad people. Unless they want to use your mind because it's a good mind to use. But they still won't let you know anything. They'll just allow you to be useful as far as is safe, and cut back any part of you that is grown in any way psychically as it pleases them. So you just be helping them really and not getting anywhere yourself. We need to find out who we are, find a way to identify each other, fund our own studies, find out exactly what's happening, and maybe make medicines that make the chemical links that we're missing and having destroyed in us in some way, or make nanotechnology which will help us to undo whatever they've done to us. We have to make, and we have to campaign to get at the right to do these things to ourselves, because they're called medical procedures and they would be disallowed by law. We will have to get it written into law that anyone over the age of 18 can undergo any medical procedure they please. Then we'll have to have our own colleges, exam systems, medical facilities and so on, and do our own treatments for ourselves. And somehow regain our faculties so that we can perceive what's going on and then do something to stop that. It won't be easy though, because these attackers rely on us for our psychic energy. That's, I'm sure of that now. they attack us because they can't make their own psychic energy. Probably because they are these psychopaths with only 20% of their brain functioning. The rest of their brain function is pretty much non-existent. In order to bring it to life, they probably have to take it from us. So they harvest us continually and will be very unwilling to give us up. The only way they can experience a full normal life is by taking it from us. They won't want to give us up at all. We may well end up fighting and dying in our millions to get ourselves back from them. It's the only way we will ever, possibly it might be the only way we will ever be able to gain our normal functioning, our health back again, ourselves. And to know our own true selves before we die. It's absolutely well worth fighting for, and well worth all the effort that it will be, and I think it will be quite a big effort. But it's absolutely worth it, and I think it has to be done. I can't emphasize too strongly. It must be done. So I think everyone should commit to it as soon as possible and spread the word and get others to commit to it. Anyone who mocks and ridicules you either still needs to be persuaded or might not join in the fight because they subconsciously are frightened of what they'll find. And it's very unpleasant what you'll find until it's dealt with, until we have our minds back and our freedom. We will be suffering greatly, and they can't bear to know this. It's like the people who take the blue pill in the film The Matrix. Those of us who are willing to do these things are taking the red pill. Yeah. Other people who mock you will be psychic attackers. Psychically attacking you, even as you're speaking to them. And so don't believe that. And other people will at the end of having a laugh and a joke about it, say, "All right, I think it's a bit dumb, but I'll have a go anyway." So that'll be worth trying. With a few people, will be interested straight away. Most people will find it difficult to believe at first. So most people will be a little resistant at first, but you need to keep trying. Try and normalize it and make it as non-scary as possible. And don't pressure people. Just make it clear that you're really interested in this kind of thing. And that will give it some legitimization itself, the fact that you're serious. Because if you're serious, then they can take you seriously without thinking that you're going to turn around saying you're only joking. So that makes it a safer situation for them. And if you're serious, then they're less likely to joke because they don't want to. It's unsociable to make a fool of somebody if they're your friend, especially, at least. So so they won't want to make a fool of you and joke about it if you're being serious. So if you're just nice and pleasant but determined, but not pressuring about things, just making it clear that you believe it and you think you'd like to spread the word and make them believe it, kind of thing, then that's good. You can say things to them like, "I'm not trying to make you join a cult, am I? I'm just trying to put an idea across." That will make them feel safer as well, because they'll see you're not trying to get them to do anything weird, because they could give it up anytime they felt like it. It's like a bag of crisps. They could eat it as long as they wanted to and put it down when they felt like it. So they're not pressured at all. But it is quite important, so do try to get them to have a go at this. And, try and spread the word. Try and get them to take it seriously. Try and get them to develop. If they are interested in it, encourage them. And the situation is quite serious, so please do keep doing it yourself. If you feel that you're stressed or busy at any time, you can take a break. But if people are keeping you busy, that could well be a distraction in itself, including if your boss keeps giving you extra workloads, maybe you should change your job. It's that serious. If your partner keeps making demands on you that they weren't making before or that don't seem really essential to you, change them, because there are psychic attackers everywhere. I think they might even outnumber us. So they're going to be in all walks of life, including in areas where they could make demands on you. You know, this is really serious. Nothing is more serious, really, because this is not just for you. It's for all humankind, including your loved ones, providing they are human, your partner, providing they're human, and so on. It's extremely important, and I urge you to take it seriously and to do your best to develop and contribute to dealing with this situation. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.